Hello boys and girls, welcome to BenchART, time for Classic, and welcome to Hot Wheels Unleashed, a game developed by Milestones RCI, and it is using Unreal Engine 4. I know I'm probably a little bit late to the party, but I think it's important to test these games. So this is my recommended settings if you use a GTX 1650 Super. So it's essentially 1080p maximum settings. I did try it in two different settings, and this is the results that I did got. So at 1080p using maximum settings, my average was close to 100 frames per second with a minimum of 81. Although if you decide to go with 1440p, the median settings provides an experience all the time above 60 frames per second in the two tracks that I did tried, and both high and ultra performs above pretty much 50%, 50 FPS. I mean, it should perform above 50 FPS, and there is a slight difference in performance between ultra and high, and as you can see, a big boost in between the high and the median. So I still think that the median settings looks pretty good though, but I do prefer to stick up with 1080p and having a very good overhead in case the game wants to be more demanding. So if that happens, I know that 1080p maximum settings will still hold on to those 60 frames per second, while the 1440p median don't. Also, for the recommended settings, these guys recommend 16 gigs of RAM, which I don't really think it is necessary, since the game it is using about 6 to 7 gigabytes of RAM for me. So 16 probably only if your PC is full of stuff in the background. Also, for the CPU, they do recommend the Ryzen 5 from the 2000 generation, and for the GPU side, they do recommend the GTX 1060 or an RX 580 or 480 or 580. So the 1650 Super, it is slightly superior to those offerings on the recommended, but both of them have versions with higher VRAM, which I'm not really sure if that causes an impact in this game, since the game it is nearly using the full 4 gigabytes of VRAM. There is also some stuttering that does happen from time to time, but for me I don't think that the VRAM it is the culprit in here, since Unreal Engine games always have this kind of small stuttering that does happen from time to time. And not really stuttering, it's mostly micro stuttering. So not really sure if it is the VRAM culprit, because again, Unreal Engine games tend to do this, and it's one of the reasons why I hate these engines sometimes with a passion. It's because of really those inconsistencies in frame times that have been here since Unreal Engine 3, honestly. This is a shame. Alright, so I think that's all about the performance. Pretty much 1080p and 1440p median settings provides an experience above 60, while 1440p high and ultra provides an experience above 50. 4K, I did try it at median settings, and after 5 seconds I was having frame rates lower than 30 frames per second, so I decided to not try it at 4K because it was already playing below than 30. Alright, so let's talk now a little bit about the game. So Hot Wheels Unleashed, I think it's an underappreciated game. I think the game it is excellent, but the stuff where these guys spent most of the time and doing a better job, it is something that only fans will notice. So first of all, regarding gameplay, this is a little bit like Mario Kart, but without the power-ups. So basically you have a track and you drift, for example, to earn boost or nitro, whatever, so you can use to gain extra speed and just pass through the opponents, and that's pretty much that. All right, this game have three great things in this game. First of all, it is really the graphics, which is not really hard to do it since the lightning is static, but even so, the graphics are really something really good, and it's not really that demanding. The second thing, for people that likes to create their own tracks, this game have one of the best editors I ever seen. I'm not going to show you in here, but you can search on YouTube for track editor on Hot Wheels Unleashed, and you will be surprised with stuff that you can do in this track editor. So for people that like to create their own tracks, you will be sold. I can assure you of that. And third thing is for the fans of Hot Wheels, this is a big deal because this contains a lot of models from the past since the early days, like the first model, the second, the third, as well as newer titles and newer models, I mean, and a lot of great models that were available. They are available inside this game, so that's really something that for people that love this type of stuff, it is really great. And the amount of detail that these guys did put inside into these cars, I mean, is really amazing. Unfortunately, you can only notice most of these details while you are not running the track, while you kind of view the cars close on a garage or something. When you do that, you can even notice scratches from the last race that you did perform, or stuff like fingerprints from the owner of the car inside the car. So there are really some incredible details that these games pack that most of us normal users that just want to play a racing game won't be able to notice. I only knew about this not because I ever noticed that, but mostly because I saw a video reviewing this game and the guy showed that. I think it was IGN or GameSpot, I don't really remember, and I was so surprised with that, and also the track editor. It is really insane. But essentially it's just that. I feel that most of the game should be mostly the same, so the same type of tracks, the same drift types. The only thing that does change over time is that you can perform some crazy stuff in here, like airborne controls that allows you to perform some nice and crazy shortcuts for you to take advantage of. And also the background scenarios that are like 5 or 6. I'm not really sure how many there are, but they do change a little bit how the track feels because of the changes in the lighting mostly. But there are also some nice crazy things about the tracks that resembles a little bit of Trackmania, like playing the track upside down, because there are something that defies the gravity and makes your car being glued to the track, or some other random stuff that it is available, like having a spider in the top of the track throwing at you and the other opponents, some web stuff where you can get stuck. So there are some really nice cool things about this game that makes the tracks fresh, although there's that. Unfortunately, the game packs a little bit of monetization in form of loot box. You don't need to pay anything to get access to all the cars, although you will need to grind a lot, because every time you get access to a box, you might not get the car that you are missing out. So that's unfortunately one of the things that is bad about the game. Also, the second thing might be a little bit the price, because despite I do think that the game it is awesome, I'm not really sure if it is worth $49.99. I mean, if you are a purist of Hot Wheels and you kind of give credit for all the work that have been done with the models available, with the tons of details of the cars, if you give proper credit to that, I think it is worth it. But if you are going to play this game as a regular gamer that don't care about Hot Wheels but you find this type of races fun, probably $49.99 might be expensive, because you won't be able to give the proper credit for all the efforts that these guys did put into the cars. Now, talking about the cars, each car has its own gameplay, which is interesting. The different types of nitro, different types of obviously turning, and they do differ a lot from each other, so each car has its own gameplay. That's why this video I was performing 3 tracks with the same car, because I was afraid to pick up a different car that was too different and I would play bad. And in fact, I do play bad in this game, because I barely know how to drift without hitting anyone or a corner. So I think that's all that I want to talk about Hot Wheels Unleashed. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.